Greetings, my noble knights, it is I, Blaze Templar, and today we're doing a little bit something different here. Last, we are actually doing another Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire Wi-Fi battle. Now, this one was more just for the funsies, and I was going up against a guy named Infraready on Twitch, so here we are. The teams were literally just 6 random things grabbed out of my box, and I think he did basically the same thing. And so these are just really random things. And so looking at his team, Conkelder looks like it is going to put in the most work. Donphan doesn't exactly appreciate the Drain Punch. Absol really can't take a Drain Punch. Vaporeon won't enjoy taking repeated Drain Punches. Chandelure, of course, will just die to a knockoff, then Drain Punch the Superior for good damage, and Drain Punch the Ambipom for the win. So we have a really nice Pokemon in Conkelder. Sableye could be really annoying for him to deal with, as it is the Prankster Sableye with Will-O-Wisp. The others on the note are, of course, Scissor, which I believe I went Mega Scissor here, and then Espeon, which is just a really fun Magic Bouncer and potential sweeper. So let's just get right into this match. As you notice, the camera quality is still not exactly the best, but until I know what I have to do for the Sun and Moon, I kind of have to go this route. So for now, we'll go with this, and I'm sorry about the shaky cam. He leads with the Ambipom, kind of figured he would, and that does a ton of damage, that Fake Out Life Orb, and it just hits really hard. I don't really care because I do have Drain Punch, but he still has the Chandelure, which is a really nice switch in if I don't go for knockoff, and I read it like a book, and that's a knockoff. And the biggest threat really to my team is gone from a well-placed knockoff. So I'm looking pretty good there, and I'm pretty happy with that. So now he's going to have to come into something else, and he decides Superior is the optimum play, which kind of makes sense, but Superior tends to be not that bulky, so I should be able to take a Leaf Storm no problem, which I do, and then I feel like I should one-shot with Drain Punch because it's Conkelder and it's Adamant, max attack. And it does not. It does get him down low, where 2 Mach Punches would take him out. But with that attack boost, special attack boost from Contrary, I know I can't take it, so I'm having to switch. And at this point, Espeon really is kind of death fodder for me. So I'm going to go into Espeon, take the Leaf Storm, get critted. Really didn't matter because he was going to outspeed me anyway next turn. So down I go, unfortunately, but there you have it. Anyway, I'm going to go into Pavilion now. And Pavilion could be pretty handy. Unfortunately, I do know these things like to carry Glare, so I'm not going to bother trying to Quiver Dance on him. Otherwise, I probably would. But since he's got the potential Glare, I just go straight for the Hurricane, and that is a very dead Superior. I'm liking that. I am liking that a lot. So with Superior out of the way, he's got 2 of his key mons gone, but in comes Dumbo. And I know it's going to want to set up Stealth Rocks, but I don't have any Rapid Spinners or Defoggers on this team, so I don't really have much option. So I decide to stay in with Pavilion, go for the Sleep Powder, and get that off with Pavilion. Unfortunately, it does break my sash, but that's fine. I'll probably use Pavilion as Death Fodder later, and he did a lot of good work, so I can't complain. Anyway, in can come Conkelder. Being able to speak properly would really help me out right about now. But regardless, he does get the first turn Wake, which is unfortunate, and now he's got Stealth Rock up, and I can't do a thing about it. But I can just go ahead and go for the Drain Punches. Unfortunately, this Conkelder is running Stone Edge over Ice Punch, so I unfortunately can't hit it with super effective Ice Punch at the moment, which probably would have been a 2-hit KO considering how much damage Drain Punch is doing. But I don't want Conkelder taking repeated Earthquakes. And I do have Alomomola, which can really deal with Donphan really well. So that's my plan. I'm just going to go into Alomomola and eat up these Earthquakes like they're nothing, which to Alomomola, oh, excuse me, sorry about that. To Alomomola really is nothing but a joke. So going to take those Earthquakes nice and comfortably as I toxic him, and this is right after the stream, so I'm a little bit worn out at the moment, but I will get used to this, and that's why I'm doing it here. And this was a pretty fun battle, so I decided to put it up, despite it's not super competitive, obviously, but regardless. Leftovers does get me back up to a nice little chunklet, so I'm at 1 12, meaning he's not going to be able to take me out with another Earthquake, and I can just go safely for a Scald at this point if I want to. Or I can Protect if I want to, too, but I think I'm going to Scald here and see what I can do. Or do I? I don't remember. I remembered making some really good plays. Okay, so yeah, I do Wish here. I thought I had a Wish Up. I need to keep my head in the game, even though this is post-game. So I do get the Wish Up, and Alamomola being here, I know I can't Scald this thing. It probably has the Water Absorb. As he goes for Acid Armor, which I really didn't see coming, but regardless, that does mean that it's going to be really hard to take out now. Except I do have Toxic on Alamomola, which means not as hard as it could have been. With it Toxic, with it Lumberry, now I have to either predict the sub or just hit it with another Toxic to get this thing worn out. And I'm getting the feeling, because he's carrying the Acid Armor, he's probably not carrying Substitute. So I am going to go ahead and risk it all on the potential that he doesn't have the sub. And I do guess right, and I get off another Toxic, which is great. But I do decide, with it Toxic and the fact he can't really do anything to me, he may switch out. And he does switch out. He does do a move I was only kind of expecting, but I wasn't expecting the Baton Pass. So this is going to be a really bulky Absol, which you never get to say, bulky Absol. But unfortunately for him, I do get the Toxic off before Magic Bounce can come into play, and that is really crippling to him. So now Alamomola just kind of sits there and does what it always does, and that's just kind of sit, wish, sub, or wish, protect, because it's Alamomola. That's what it does. But he does Swords Dance here. I am not terribly threatened by this thing right now, because I do have that Toxic off, and its Special Bulk is really nothing to write home about. And that's an uninvested Scald, and it still did that much damage. That's ridiculous. So he does go for the knockoff. It should do a nice little chunklet, but with the Wish, it won't really get me into a range that it'll KO, especially since that's 116, and I still have basically half my health left, and his attack power goes down because I no longer have the leftovers. So at this point, I can just protect, just in case he decides to go for something like Night Slash and possibly crit me. Looks like he just decides to go for the Play Rough, which is unstabbed. Really not that powerful on Alamomola, despite having the +2. So I'm not terribly threatened by Absol at this point. Should be able to take it down, despite the fact he is going to go for that Play Rough right here and do about a quarter of my life. So I'm going to go ahead and Scald. And at this point, I'm feeling kind of bad that Alamomola is basically walling his entire team. So I decide not to keep up the Wish stalling shenanigans. I will protect here just because Fake Out is like super obvious, and I don't want to just take Fake Out damage for free. So I'm just going to protect there to block the Fake Out. But he does go for double hit instead, which it does make sense that he would do so, as Fake Out still gives you Life Orb recoil. He does get a nice little crit off with the double hit, and it puts me down to a really weakened range. And so Alamomola is basically dead at this point, but I do go for the Scald here. Again, I could have gone for Wish Protect shenanigans, but I didn't want to. And so with him going for all those double hits, I'm going to go ahead and switch out. I want this game to kind of speed up, so I'm going to sack Pavilion off here. I'm sorry, Pavilion, you did a good job, but no longer can you help me, buddy. And so with Pavilion now down and out, Conkeldurr can come back in and threaten with the Mach Punch. And but he knows he needs to keep Ambipom for later, so he decides to switch out, goes back into his Donphan, which really at this point can't really do much to Conkeldurr, except go for those constant Earthquakes, but with his leftovers and the fact that Drain Punch does recover HP for me, it's not really that threatening for me. But look how big Donphan actually is compared to Conkeldurr. Conkeldurr is an absolute monster, and it's about as tall as Conkeldurr. It's ridiculous. That, or I'm overestimating just how big Conkeldurr is. It always looks huge to me, though, so I would assume that Conkeldurr's pretty big. But I'll keep on Drain Punching. At this range, a Mach Punch should take it out afterwards, or actually I think Toxic will take Donphan out at this point just because of how weakened he is. Despite the fact he does get the leftovers recovery first, Toxic just keeps on racking up. And so I think Donphan does go down here, and that does mean we're in a little bit better situation. Conkeldurr still is about half HP, which is nice. and he can't really risk going to giving me the burn, so I'm not too worried, but he does decide to go to Scald just because he needs to get some damage off, and unfortunately for me, he doesn't give me the burn, so it's only going to do a little over half damage, so that's a little annoying, but that's okay. I can just keep on going for Drain Punch, and if he does Scald me, actually at this point that might not be a good thing because burn damage would hurt quite a bit, but gets me down to 40 HP. Unfortunately for him, that second Drain Punch is going to clean out Vaporeon, leaving him down to just, I believe, his Ambipom and something else. So we're looking towards the end of the match, and it's wrapping up really nicely. Conkeldurr just really put in way more work than it should have had any right doing. But in comes Ambipom, and I do think it's his last Pokemon, so he does go for the Fake Out. Makes sense. It gets me down to a measly 21, but he's under half-life. At this point, an easy Mach Punch will take it out. And that will be game, I do believe. Unless he has something else left. I don't think he does. Donphan, Chandelure. Yeah, that was everything. So it was a really fun game. And it was more of a fun just for the whatever sake. But we should be seeing more battles in the near future. And feel free to give me a challenge. I accept them on Twitter, on YouTube, etc. And I would like to do a lot more battles. Sure, the quality right now will suffer, but once I figure out what I'm going to do for the video capture device, we will see a major increase there. But at the same time, I do want to get some videos up for now. So here you go. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Later.